So let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dapper Reacts number, I don't know, there's a number on it. It's number, it's 156, number 156. And I am here with Kip Davis, who has written exactly 0 books, as far as I can tell.
5 books. Written 5 books. There's one. See that one?
No.
It's a
pretty sure your dog wrote that one.
It's everyone keeps saying that.
Yeah.
Because my dog was so cute this morning.
That's true.
We have a treadmill for the dog, and he hasn't used it in like months. And then all of a sudden this morning he just jumped on it and he wouldn't get off. So
no.
So yeah, so he definitely wanted to run on the treadmill for a while.
I mean,
so he did like a kilometer.
Ooh.
In 10 minutes. So
see, here we call them kilometers.
Because you're ignorant.
Is that what it is?
That's it.
Okay.
Do you also say millimeters?
Millimeter? What is that? What is a millimeter? What is it even supposed to be?
I mean, what? Or a millimeter? Is that how you say it?
I mean,
or a centimeter?
I'd be
you
okay
say
with
that?
I'd be okay with those, millimeter and centimeter.
But you don't.
Yeah, but I'd be fine with it. Let's do it. I say we do it.
You don't.
All right, Americans.
You go everywhere else on the entire planet, and they all say kilometer. And when you say kilometer, they look at you funny.
Yeah, that's great.
Like like you're speaking a different language, like American.
That is in fact a point of American pride.
That is.
Yeah, that's
what's happening.
Part of our national identity.
That
is,
you guys intentionally mispronounce the words that we have perfectly good pronunciations.
You know, I have like 2,000 milliliters of cola. Milliliters. It's right in the refrigerator.
Milliliters.
It's so much harder with liter. Jeez.
Yeah, and it is. It really is. So
maybe if I went with like I have 200 centiliters, that would be a little bit easier.
Centiliters.
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't even know what I didn't even know what a deciliter. Well, I remember after the fact learning about that.
Yeah, it's because no one uses the decimal prefix for like anything.
Well, except when I and my family moved to Norway.
Okay.
You'd buy things from like the grocery store, and when you're cooking and you're looking at the instructions on the box,
okay,
they would have there, right, like 5 or well, probably more like 2 or 3 DL.
Oh, for deciliters, yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? Sorry, see, I almost
you went close. I noticed.
It was very close. Like, what even is that? It took a while. It took some time for yeah. So
I forget that you're not as like science brained as I am.
I am not, and I'll be, because you know I was my wife and I assumed very traditional roles when we lived in Norway, because she couldn't work and I was working all the time. So she
for like immigration status reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
So you know she was doing. So she was like, I don't know what this is, and asked me, and I'm like, I don't know.
See,
right? Like it just.
I'm in a weird position because I do a lot of like sciencey type stuff. I'm pretty familiar with like the SI system and like every once in a while I still have to look them up, especially for like the ones that people don't use very much, like yada. Like what's a yada meter? I don't remember off the top of my head, but like
I have no idea.
I know what a megameter is.
What is a yada meter?
It's a huge number of meters, and I don't remember what the actual number is.
Wow. Okay.
But it's a power of 10 because they're all powers of 10.
They all are, because that makes sense.
Well, it only makes sense because we made the stupid decision to have decimal numbers instead of a better system. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it works pretty good.
That's because you're used to it.
It just, you know what the best, well, maybe not the best thing, but one of the very useful things about metric
What's that?
is that it all corresponds with like all the, what do you
Here,
call
here,
it,
watch
like
this.
the,
Hey, in decimal notation, how many meters is a third of a meter?
okay, fine.
It's 0.3
um
repeating. That's annoying as hell. You know what it is
yeah,
in decimal,
sure.
which is base 12? It's 0.4. Boom. Done.
Yeah, but
Exactly 0.4.
if it's point 0.4, then, and you go, if it's a 12 base system and you go, what's 1/10 of whatever,
Well, yeah,
you're left
tenths
with
and
the
fifths
same
are a little
problem.
bit iffy, but there's
Yeah,
way
exactly.
fewer.
But
There are way fewer situations where you
I
have
don't
to
know.
use a repeating decimal
Fine.
in decimal.
You changed the subject though. I was going to say the cool thing I like about metric
Okay.
is that in each like when it comes to length and volume and mass, there's logical correspondence between all of those, right?
Well,
Like 1 cubic, what is it? It's one is
a
it 1 cubic
meter
meter? No.
of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Weighs like is it a kilogram?
I believe it is in fact a
Or
kilogram. Yeah,
yeah, right? Like that's just,
or maybe it's 1,000
that
kilograms because
is,
that's a lot of water.
it's just, yeah. I messed that up. So,
Yeah.
but that's just smart, right? Like that is just a sensible way of putting together a system of measures.
Look, sometimes
If
I want to know how many barleycorns tall my house is, and that's fine. And then I want to figure
that's
out what that is in
you
fathoms.
you do you.
Yeah. And
I'm just
then I'll get a
saying,
hand measuring tape, which I actually found out there are in fact hand measuring tapes that measure things by hands for measuring horses.
I would think you need that, right?
Yeah.
Because
I never thought about it though,
you
but
know,
then I watched a
horse
video
owners are
where people played a
wealthy.
tabletop war game with Joy Toy versions of the normal war game models that you would use, and the Joy Toy models are about 4 times as big. So they used to use the same rules. They just used hands instead of inches, and it was very, very strange to watch as these guys moved around gigantic toy robots that normally are only a quarter of that size and are still very expensive. All right, we got a few things to read here. We do have to get through those. Let's see. Jillian Wren, who's been a member for 33 months. Thank you so much. And is at the amulet level says, is watching these guys better or worse than watching Bob Ross getting weirdly into teasing a cloud with a Mothra? And we'll take a drink for the Mothra. I feel like you could probably actually even do both. You don't know who Bob Ross is?
I know what Bob Ross is. I don't know what TC McCloud.
I mean, I'm assuming that
teasing
it means
teasing
that
a cloud. Sorry, I misheard that. Teasing a cloud. Oh yeah. Okay, I understand that part now.
Okay. Metageeky, Platypus, Librarian, or Warlock. I'm not sure which one because it's cut off because YouTube wants me to not know your names. For $2 says, Millimeter, how much malted chocolate I can drink? Nice. Yeah.
It's very good.
And then the weirdo CKA Evans, who's been a member for 4 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says, I am Canadian and kilometer still sounds weird. Oh, you got some Canadian pushback,
yeah.
Kip.
No, it's true. And I grew up with it, and it took living in Norway for 3 years to correct me of that. So, and in response to Fearmonger, the Colacanth, yes, I lived in Norway for 3 years, and Brunost is disgusting. I knew
fermented fish
Brunost.
dish.
No, this is goat cheese.
Oh, okay.
And it's a vile form of goat cheese. There's brunost, and then there's Gjetost. And it's all terrible. I knew about this before I moved to Norway because I married into a family of Norwegians, and they have this terrible shit every year at Christmas time, and it just like it. Imagine what it would be like munching on like the sweatiest socks that have been sitting in your hockey bag for a week. That's what it's like.
I bet there's a lot of glutamic acid in there.
I expect so. I don't know what that is.
I know.
But,
Goop23 for $5 says, I like base 12 and base 6. Also, happy Valentine's. Also, AIG is a bag of Joy Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joy Toy is an unfortunately named company, but it's Japanese, and I'm pretty sure they didn't notice, because if there's one thing that people who aren't English speakers tend not to notice, it's English innuendo. So
English
I've noticed
innuendo.
Yeah, I've noticed that even people who speak English very, very well rarely catch innuendos that first language speakers of English will catch immediately. Like, you hear a company named Joy Toy. What do they sell? Probably vibrators. But no, actually,
Probably.
they're a specialty toy company that sells gigantic versions of other products, basically. And so I'm most familiar with them from their 40K line, where they have, like, very large versions of, like, Space Marines and Imperial Knights, which are not guys on horses and are, in fact, guys in giant robots. But not that giant. They're much gianter robots than the Knights.
Oh, he's correct. He's correcting me here. It's some cheese that's made from the whey left over from cheese making. It's been
Oh.
caramelized a bit, and it goes pretty good. No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not. It's vile.
See, I
It's
feel
just
like
vile.
I could imagine something like that actually being something that complements some crackers with jam, because there are a lot of things that are really terrible on their own, but if you add a tiny little bit of them, it's sort of like
That's true.
sardines, right? Or even like okay, I like fish sauce in a lot of things. Like, I'll put it in fried rice and things like that, or sometimes in
Oh yeah.
noodles, right?
Mhm. No, it's fantastic.
You ever tasted fish sauce
Terrible
on its
on
own?
its own.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's awful. It's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
So no, that's true.
yeah.
And I can see that. My in-laws, they just eat it. So
Well, I mean, I know people who eat Marmite as just out of the jar, so like, whatever. People are like
that
that.
too, right? Like that's the. I also for a time lived in New Zealand, and this was the thing that I
See, I put Marmite in the
Vegemite,
same
I
category, right? Because it's also there because it has
Yeah.
just a lot of glutamates in it, which basically just means savoriness. So, like, yeah, you put it on things, and then some people just start to like it so much because it's, acquired tastes are real, right? Ben Thick Tunicate for £20. Thank you so much. Says AIG are measured in right hand for most men, if you know what I mean. I do. I'll take a drink. Thank you. Good job. Vandalia 1998 for $5 says powers of 10, blah. Trying to figure out how many pikas there are in a feet or bushel in an acre. That's the American way. Lol. Citation needed. So here's one thing, actually. I will say this about the Imperial system before we get on to our video here. Sometimes people see this chart of conversions in the Imperial system where there's like all these different lengths and stuff, and there's like points and barley corns and inches and fathoms and whatnot. And it is true that you can convert between these, but what you're actually looking at is several different measurement systems that are for different purposes, right? Like, fathoms is for doing things like figuring out how deep the water your ship is in. Points, everyone uses points. That's how you measure fonts. You ever notice you have like an 11-point font or a 12-point font? That's what the point is. It's part of the Imperial system of measurement, and you don't use it for anything
Really?
else. Like, you're not like, how many points long is my phone? No one cares, because that's not what the point system is for. It's for fonts. It's for lettering. And so if you're looking at this chart, you're not looking at anything that anyone's actually looking at when they're using like the American customary system. No one's doing that. Printers are looking at points. Other people are looking at fathoms, and yet other people are looking at inches and feet. And there's not really a whole lot of mixing. Like, no one gives a crap
Is it
how many points are in
because
an inch.
what makes it imperial? Like what
It's the
makes
British
it part
Empire.
of the imperial system as
It's that
opposed
it's
to
from the
so
customary
it
units
was
used by the
just
British Empire.
just the fact that it was, but was there ever like other systems?
Yeah.
Competing systems that were
Actually,
really?
the reason
I
that people
don't
think
know.
that
Is there a metric one?
metric what?
A metric system for that corresponds to points, or is it?
I mean,
is
you
it
can
just,
convert points into the metric system, but I think you have to go
I
through
guess
inches
you can,
first.
right? Yeah. So how many points then are in
I don't know.
I
don't know.
An inch?
I don't know. Literally anything else you could have said, the answer is still going to be I don't know, because I don't know how many points are in anything. Because I don't care about points,
Right.
except that I know that when I write my scripts,
I've
I keep my text at 11 points because it works well for my eyes. That's it.
Yeah, that one I used to do that too, actually, on 11 points. But then I got a I got into I got into using Georgia as like my primary font, and now I write things in 12 point Georgia
12
font.
is also pretty good. I'm okay with 12. 10 is just a little bit too small, and then there's like 8 or 9. Like, no, get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You're just trying to
yeah.
make my eyes hurt. Stop it.
It's
All right.
true.
So let's see. I think I'm caught up on super chats. Looks like. All right.
Somebody asked
Oh, okay.
me. Somebody wanted to know how many Danny DeVito's tall I am.
I feel like you're less than 2, but more than 1.
I'm less than 2, but more than exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely more than 1 and less than 2.
1.5, give or take 0.4 ish.
Maybe, yeah.
It's probably a good estimate.
Yeah. That's probably right in there.
All right. So, when last we left off, our creationist, I was gonna say interlocutors, but they're not actually here, so they're not interlocutors.
No.
They're just guys.
True.
Um,
Almost feels like that's a term that that even if they were, I might struggle to identify them as such.
well, yeah, because they wouldn't actually be adding to the conversation so much as
No,
spewing word salad that just evinces stupidity.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, "Fathoms come from the French for I can't fathom how you managed to run your entire fleet aground." Nice.
That is good.
So yeah, when last we left off, they were very confused about the idea that menstruation would evolve and not apply
Yeah.
to both male and female animals, and yet still be labeled on a species. Apparently, the idea that
Because
a
there are a couple of
species,
bros.
well, yeah, but apparently the idea that a species might evolve a trait that is sex specific, and that might be an important part of that species biology overall, and yet is still largely restricted to one sex. That's just beyond them, despite being in a species where that's true for various parts of their biology, right? Like
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
like a uterus. It's pretty sex specific in humans. And while it is true that intersex individuals exist, when you're doing like the whole like broadly speaking, how do humans reproduce? It's like, well, they have 2 sexes, and one of the sexes carries the young and has a uterus and also develops milk and things like that, and the other sex doesn't do those things and instead just delivers the smaller gamete. And yeah, there are exceptions in there. Just like when you say like, "Hey, how many legs do horses have, Kip?"
How many what?
Legs do horses have?
How many legs do
Yeah.
horses have? 4.
What if I cut the leg off of a horse? Does that change your answer?
No.
Right. That's why it's
I
fair to
mean,
say
I
that
guess
despite
that-
the fact that intersex people exist,
Yeah.
humans are a species with 2 sexes.
Sure.
Yeah. Or we could go with dogs, because honestly, if you cut the leg off of a horse, you're just going to put that horse out of its misery. But there are plenty of 3-legged dogs out there who do very happy lives as dogs, doing dog things.
They live very happy lives as dogs.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
we'll go with dogs then. Yeah. The
Some
existence
of
of
them have little carts
it's true.
that they
The dog
they
here
run
has
around
one of the
in.
dogs here has a
Just
little
cute.
cart because she's mostly
Yeah.
paralyzed. So if she needs to take a
Yeah.
walk, we can give her a little cart. But yeah. So that's why I'm comfortable saying that while there are exceptions, and those exceptions are valid people who have, who are important as individual humans, overall, we can safely say that humans have 2 sexes, 1 female, 1 male, and that things that apply to females tend not to apply to males and vice versa. But these guys are very confused
That
about
is
that.
true.
I think part
They
of that
are.
might be that there's a certain air of incelliness that is occurring with these 2.
There certainly is.
Yeah.
I guess well, because Vish isn't here today, I guess somebody could say that you and I are a couple of bros.
I mean,
But
in the strict sense of if you're just saying by bro, like just guys, but we're not very bro-y. Like we don't call each other bro.
we really aren't.
Yeah.
We really aren't. So somebody thought you were a bro
Well,
yesterday.
was I playing like Space Marine 2? Because in that case, then I'm a battle brother. That's like a battle bro.
Is that right? No.
Yeah.
No, it was in a comment that was left on your
Oh
video.
yeah, someone did call me bro in
Yeah.
one of the comments. That's true. That
I
see, the thing
did.
is, though, if you start calling people bro, that shows that you are in fact a bro, not that they are. If they
That's that.
reciprocate, if they
there we go.
reciprocate, then
Yeah.
you're both bros.
Got it.
Yeah, bro is one of
Got
those
it.
weird things where when you
Oh.
call someone, it actually means you're that thing, and they might be too, but by using it, it means you're the bro. And that's fine.
My brother and I call each other bro.
That seems reasonable. Look,
Doesn't it?
I'm not here saying that you can't be a bro, that being a bro is a bad thing. It is a particular vibe that certain guys have, and it's not necessarily my vibe, but I've known plenty of broy guys who were great guys overall.
It's true. Me too.
And these guys are broy guys who also
Not
seem
them.
like cringy incel idiots. So
Yes.
Ben Thick Tunicate for £5 says, Dapper, it's only crazy to them because it pertains to the women's. Yeah, that's true. If it was
Yeah.
a sex-specific feature of males, they'd totes be okay with it being included. Actually, that's true, because when they thought that penises had evolved, which is not what was actually happening, but when they thought that that's what was going on, they did not complain about the fact that that didn't apply to women or females or anything like that, because these guys are deeply into the male as default, which, I mean, to be fair, they grew up in a society where male as default has been entrenched for hundreds of years. So yeah, here's a fun exercise. If you ever are running a D&D game, right? Have your players come across 2 towns over the course of the campaign. In one of them, the only NPCs that you're going to name or describe or in any way indicator there are going to be men, right? Male names, beards, stuff like that. There's a very good chance that your players are not going to notice that there are, in fact, no women in the town. Then do the reverse.
But if you do it the other way,
yeah, suddenly your players will be like, wait, where'd all the men go?
Boy, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I can't guarantee it for every single group, right? You might have a particularly observant group who are really into noticing odd patterns and whatnot. But by and large, yeah, when there is a complete lack of men in terms of the NPCs, yeah, your players will be like, wait a minute. What's going on? But the reverse, not so much.
Yesterday, I did a stream yesterday afternoon. I attempted to do like a simulcast, which was chaos.
Yeah, sounds good.
And I feel like I barely got through it. But I did a stream yesterday about the topic of hell in Christian literature and its development from the Hebrew Bible. And I was responding to a video that was put out by former 80s sitcom heartthrob Kirk Cameron
yes.
turned bigot, insufferable bigot. And he had this whole, round table discussion about hell in Christianity, the nature of hell in evangelical Christianity specifically.
Of course, why would you include any other
And
Christians?
It was him. Well, that's it, right? And it was him and 4 other white guys. Older white guys.
It is always amazing to me the degree to which evangelicals will default evangelicalism for Christianity in the same way that many people default masculinity for humans. It's like,
yes,
you guys
exactly,
are a very recent and somewhat fringe group of Christians. You are not representative of Christianity either historically or demographically, but go on, have fun with it, I guess.
Yes, touche. But it just made me think about that, right? Where people in my audience notice this, right? But I'm, if you go anywhere in I shouldn't say that, but a lot of places you go within the evangelical church, it's just not something anybody would even pick up on. But if you had 2 women, not even a whole panel of women, if you had 2 women on that panel, I am quite certain it's something that would have been picked up on by a certain demographic.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. We have a few super chats here. Goop
and not in a good way.
Well, yeah. Goop23 for $5 says, I bet these guys think that people who menstruate can hold in their discharge. I think you're probably right about that. As I said to Chesh last time we were on stream together, I hear that if it's a valid or legitimate menstruation, that your body has a way of shutting that down. which, in case you're wondering, that is
I've-
that is in fact me mocking a Republican senator for saying that about rape, which was just great. It's
just wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to me that the people who are making laws about things are the people who know the least about them. That's but biologically,
Yeah.
says MetaGeeky for $2, female is default in humans. That is largely true in
Sort
that
of.
if you have androgen insensitivity or something like that, so that your body just doesn't react to androgens like testosterone, your body will look more or less like a female body for pretty much your whole life, unless you like. Actually, I don't know that there's anything you can do with androgen insensitivity to change that. But yeah. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, oh, sorry.
No, you read your super chat. I'll get to the other one.
Okay. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, this does not apply to communities of dwarven NPCs. It's the beards. So that depends on your setting, but yeah, in settings where female dwarves have beards, it can be hard to tell. And then for £5, Ben Thick Tunicate says, as Deuterostomes, at one point we start off as assholes. Clearly, these bros never progressed past that point, and that is in fact true. Kip, did you know that at one point in your life, the only anatomical feature you had was an asshole?
I had no idea. That's wild.
Yeah. So
incredible.
When a zygote forms and starts to divide, it forms a little sphere of cell that's hollow.
Sure.
And then the first thing that happens is there's a little indent that starts to form on one end. The indent is in fact the anus.
Yeah,
it will stay there
remember
for the rest of its life.
This is starting to ring a bell now from my my introduction to biology courses, where I learned that within body plans, is kind of the most consistent thing is the exit, the exit hole, for
which in some animals is also the entrance hole.
True. Yes, I remember learning that as well
on this channel,
which is in biology. So yes, thank you. Thank you, biology teachers. I appreciate that. Right. Who were, and this was actually at an evangelical Christian university, by the way.
Well, evangelicals don't usually deny embryology at the most basic level.
True. Grumpiest Kevin asks the question: Are there women rabbis?
Yes, there are. In fact,
we all know the answer to that question. Not everyone does, though.
I mean, look, it's okay to learn.
You know what, though? If you're learning in front of an audience of thousands, tens of thousands, there are some things I would be more comfortable learning in the privacy of you don't have to broadcast
that's
this
true
to the world.
It's true.
So,
by the way, to clarify, because I know some people had asked, at the end of this trip that Vishanti is on, she will not come back as a rabbi. She has a fair bit of work to do before that can happen. So this is, however, a step on that path that she's doing right now. So we wish her well.
She's on a journey.
Yes. And I was being live updated with the sights from her train as she was going, which was nice. So, all right.
Cool.
The very last thing that happened was these guys managed to mispronounce proconsul as like proconsul or something like that. It was very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't just look at the letters. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, in some humans, the exit hole is also the source of cognition and argumentation. Correct.
True.
Might be these two. All right, so here we go. We're going to hit play now that we've been going for almost half an hour.
It looks vicious, this thing.
Yeah, this thing looks like it's
looks angry.
He looks like he wants to go to Detroit. I know,
because the mouth is open. Has a. Oh God.
All right. So
was that like a?
I'm pretty sure that was just racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it.
It is in fact an ape. It's in fact our oldest ape, and it is in fact.
It's also the blackest ape in the pictures.
Yeah. I don't think the artist made that choice for that reason, but these two sure decided to go there.
And
so
I think I'm
gonna take a drink because I kind of have to,
because the mouth is open, I think, and because of the color, it's harder to see the ape's eyes. It feels like they're reading a lot into this. A lot.
So they're projecting a lot into this. Is what's happening. They're taking their own racism and projecting it into this picture. which is
Yeah.
it's not great. I'll say that. It's not
It sure isn't.
great. Also, because I feel like it might come up, and I just want to head it off at the pass. Yes, it is almost certain that the default skin color for humans before they started to leave sub-Saharan Africa was in fact quite dark. And we know this for a few reasons, one of which is that we actually have human remains from a lot of places that are very, very old that we can test some of the DNA. And it seems like the mutations for light skin actually happened fairly late in the history of the species. And also there are multiple mutations that cause light skin in different populations. So for instance, certain people in Eastern Asia have particularly pale skin, like in places like China and Japan and Korea. And the things that cause them to not express so much melanin is a different cause than for light-skinned people in, say, Europe. So,
Oh, I was just about to ask that.
yeah.
What is the difference?
I don't actually remember the exact genetics of it. I just know that I just remember that it was in fact different mutations that we can detect. And so that's another reason why it is most likely not the original skin color was pale. It is almost certainly quite a dark skin color. And also, like, we have... Sorry, go ahead.
In Europe is the reason because our ancestors were trying to live in this cold, dark, depressing place.
It's the reason in both
that
cases.
It's part of it.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah.
Basically, skin color largely correlates across geography among groups that are like, native to that area, not recent people who've moved over. So like, white people in Belize, we're not counting them because their ancestry is not primarily like from Belize. But what generally happens is that the more UV is encountered on a given, like on a daily basis, the darker the skin is, because that helps protect from sunburn. Whereas in places where there's less UV that you're encountering because of maybe shorter days or you need to stay in more, there is less UV, so you're less likely to get a sunburn, but you also need more vitamin D, and so your light skin will help you not absorb a lot of that UV radiation into melanocytes, and instead it will go into your cells so that they can actually help power your vitamin D production. So it is a trade-off between propensity to sunburn
if anything,
versus
it just
vitamin
feels
D.
like I was gonna say, if anything, it just feels like we should, it's something, it's, you feel sorry. It feels sad that that it's because you had to stay inside, and
I mean, look,
it was always dark.
It's just an adaptation to various climates, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the real sad thing is that people were like, "Hey, some superficial aspect of climate adaptation is what we should build our moral hierarchy on." Like, no, you don't. You don't
that's
have
the worst.
you don't have to do that.
That sure is. Yeah.
You could do almost anything else, actually.
And that seems to be something too, that that is an idea that some geniuses had quite late. Because in antiquity, there's just no evidence that anybody seemed to notice or care.
I don't know about notice, because we do have art of people depicted with different skin tones. So they clearly noticed. They just didn't care much.
Yes, they just didn't seem to. It was like, oh, okay.
Like when the emperor of the Roman Empire was from North Africa, and no one was really like, "Oh, he's too dark skinned to be the emperor." Like, whatever.
Exactly that.
He looked like he dressed like a Roman. He spoke like a Roman. He acted like a Roman. He's a Roman. All right, we're gonna hit play after we've hopefully covered as much racism as we're going to. But I feel like as we're getting more apes that are getting closer to humans, it's just gonna get worse. So brace yourselves.
Boy.
Tri-chromatic vision.
And
I don't think they know what tri-chromatic vision is, but in case you guys don't,
I don't know what that is either.
Oh, all right. So, you know how you have rods and cones?
3 colors?
Yeah. So you know how you have rods and cones in your eyes, right? And the rods just detect bright and dark, whereas the cones detect color. You have 3 kinds of cone. Each one peaks at a certain wavelength of light, and by combining those, you get the colors that you can see. That's why your monitor only has 3 different segments for each pixel: a red, a green, and a blue, because each of those corresponds to one of the peaks for the, I'll say, standard human color vision. If you have some kind of color blindness, you're actually going to be different from that. And that might actually cause some monitors to look funny to you, which is one of the reasons why there is colorblind options in some programs to shift the colors to ones that are both easier for you to distinguish and that look more natural for you. So the default for mammals is to have dichromatic vision. This is why your dog loses track of red balls more easily than blue balls when you throw them on the grass.
Oh.
Because for your dog, red and green and yellow are all basically the same color. It's also why tigers are orange, but hide in green foliage from mostly ungulates. It's because tigers and ungulates both
Interesting.
can't distinguish between orange and green.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And also, it's virtually impossible for a mammal to be green, but it's really easy to be orange because the kinds of colors that mammals produce.
Why is it impossible to be green?
There really aren't very many pigments that animals make that are green, because animals mostly make bluish, like purplish, actually reddish and yellowish pigments, and all the naturally occurring green pigments are actually pretty intense to make, like chlorophyll and whatnot. And the reason plants do it
Yeah, okay.
is because
Yeah.
they're eating with that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But animals aren't. So basically, animals just never evolve blue or green pigmentation. And in fact, you might think I've seen feathers that are blue or green, but actually, that's not made with pigment. That's a structural color. The actual microscopic structure of the feathers absorbs certain wavelengths of light by just trapping them mechanically in there, and the only ones that can escape are the blue and the green ones. There's actually no
Wild.
green or blue pigment. In fact, if you were to take a blue feather from a bird and grind it up, you would not get blue pigment out of it. But if you took, say, the orangey reddish feather from, say, like a robin or something, right, and you ground that up like in a mortar and pestle, you get reddish powder at the end of that. But if you did it with a green or a blue pigment, that would just be kind of a grayish mess. Wouldn't be green or blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. You know, when I was a kid, I used to think the people who suffered from color blindness just saw in black and white for a long time.
It is a
And then
very
for an even
small
longer
portion
time,
of
I
people with
used to
color
think that
blindness.
dogs just saw in black and white.
Yeah.
So-
Well, it's closer to true for dogs generally because they have very limited color vision. There are
Right.
people who have total color blindness and can't distinguish color at all, but it's very rare. Very, very rare.
Interesting. Yeah.
Also, virtually everyone who's colorblind has one X and one Y chromosome because it is a sex-linked characteristic, and so the alleles are on the X chromosome, which means that if you have one X chromosome that carries the alleles that would result in color blindness, but you have another X chromosome that doesn't, you end up with normal color vision, which is why among
Yeah,
people with
wow.
color vision, virtually all of them are male in humans. It's not impossible for a female to be colorblind, but it's very, very unusual.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if you're male and your dad had one even if he had normal color vision, if one of his X chromosomes carries colorblind traits, then half of his male offspring will be colorblind, and probably none of his female offspring, unless your mom also happens to carry the colorblind trait. In that case, about half of the, about a quarter of any female offspring will end up being colorblind, which is still unlikely. Genetics, everybody. Turns out,
It's very cool.
yeah, weird stuff like that. Ashley loves blah high for $5 says AIG is a person putrid, perfidious, purposeless, phalloides. Oh, good use of a generic name there. With primitive pan or pongene presenting profligate pinhead patriarch.
My
And then there's a
God.
Mothra with some curly Q smiley faces, and we will take a drink. That is a good one. Thank you very much, Ashley. Ashley did a really good job with that one. I think I'm missing another one too. Let's see. Yes, Arrow Dodger for
There's a new one that
$4.99
came in.
says Vish isn't here, so Kip has to actually give commentary. I know, how horrible for him.
I don't even know though. I expect that if I didn't say anything, the show would probably just go on.
I mean,
I
have done this show solo before, so yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It's more fun with a
yesterday
guest.
was the first time I've done a solo show in years.
Wow, how'd it go?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about years. Maybe certainly well over a year. I think it went okay. It's a different kind of show when you're doing it by yourself. And in some ways there's things I like better about it. But it is always way more fun.
Yeah.
With someone else there.
Yeah, well, it's a big part of the reason I have guests is because I think it's more fun. There's more interaction.
It is more fun. Yeah.
You know, I get to bully someone sometimes.
Or when I'm here all the time. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're good on super chats. So we'll. Oh wait, nope. We have a membership chat. Inquisitive Infidel, who's been a member at the Amniote level for 1 month, welcome. Says I did see a documentary where they covered color vision, and there was a woman that had four different kinds of cones. Yes, tetrachromacy is a thing in some female humans, or I suppose some XXY humans. It's possible, but I've never heard of it. So yeah, because the
Is that
so what?
for color vision then?
Yep.
Really?
Now, here's one of the things,
Wow.
though. It is not fully four completely differentiated cones because the mutations tend to only slightly shift the direction of the peak amplitude that cone will respond to, either up or down in terms of like wavelength. So what ends up happening is you get slightly more complicated color vision, but for the most part, people with tetrachromacy have trouble distinguishing many more colors than people with trichromacy because the difference in the peak wavelengths are not very far off. And so the brain kind of blurs them together a little bit. But there are tests that you can do for trichromacy, or tetrachromacy, I'm sorry, but they're not reliable if you're taking them on a computer monitor. So to one of my trans women friends who took a tetrachromacy test that's mostly just a scam on the internet and then thought that she had tetrachromacy despite almost certainly not having that be a physical possibility for her. Sorry, but you're almost certainly not a tetrachromat. I'm sorry.
Is it? I think every test on the internet is a scam, isn't it?
You can
I mean,
do
just about
they're actual real colorblind tests. There are real colorblind tests on the internet.
I suppose. Yeah. Okay.
Because
that's probably
monitors can test for people who don't have trichromacy, but instead have some variation that's lower color vision. But going higher isn't a realistic possibility. And also, she read that that tetrachromacy is exclusive to women, and it didn't think that maybe what that was actually trying to say was it was exclusive to people with 2X chromosomes, and that maybe it was written at a time when differentiating that from women was not common. And so it was just like, well, okay, I guess that's me. And I'm just like, I didn't say any of this to her. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but what are you doing? And I just let it go because you know what? No one's gonna get hurt because she thinks that she has tetrachromacy, even though no, she doesn't.
You know, I went with my son a few weeks ago to like an eye specialist, an ophthalmologist.
Ooh, big word.
Yeah, and it's I don't think I've ever been to one before, but it's remarkable to me how much insight they have into what's going on with your eyes, just on the basis of a number of the clever tests, and devices that it really is incredible, what they have figured out to be able to do to investigate the condition of your eyeballs.
Here's something that actually brings
really amazing
back around to evolution, though. Kip, can you guess why it might be that primates are among the only mammals with trichromatic vision?
And I guess why mammals?
Oh no, primates
might be the
among
only
mammals.
Oh, primates might be the only mammals.
Well,
who
among
have
the only
trichromatic
mammals.
vision. Among the only mammals.
I can't
Can
say
I
it for
guess
every
why?
group of mammals.
Does it have to do with with evolving in like heavily forested areas?
Indirectly.
So that's all I got.
Many fruits go from greenish to reddish as they ripen, and primates prefer fruit over foliage in their diets. And so any primate that had the ability to distinguish green from red suddenly had an advantage in figuring out when the fruit was the most nutritious and the most tasty.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah, it's indirectly related to forests in that forests have a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
Metageeky Platypus Librarians for $5 says, mostly sex-linked. There are rare color vision genes on chromosome 7, blue, yellow, and if I recall correctly, 3 and 5 as well. My dad and I have odd mutations with a trans pride flag. Well, first of all, trans rights. And also, yeah, I wasn't aware of those, and that is, in fact, very interesting. So yeah, mostly sex-linked. Well, look, very few things are ever one entire thing when it comes to biology. Biology is one of the messiest of sciences. That's why a common refrain from biologists say that there are exceptions to every rule in biology, and that's largely correct. It is very hard to find a truly universal rule.
it's sort of someone having grown up within a biology denial culture.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. Because science denialism really tends to target biological sciences in particular.
Well, humans are biological entities, so it makes sense to me.
I guess so. But it in many ways, I think that's I don't know if we call it a vulnerability, but it's a factor that I think gets exploited in, ways that other sciences don't by the science denial crowd.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit play, and we're going to see what they think about Tri-chromacy.
Larger brain.
A larger brain.
He lost his tail.
Why is that Why is that funny?
I don't
Why
know.
is it funny that they have a larger brain?
Yeah,
why?
Like, are they not aware that apes
Is it
generally
because
have
they're
larger
jealous?
brains than other monkeys?
Is it because they recognize that they have tiny, undeveloped brains of adolescent boys, and it makes them sad?
Maybe.
Is that it?
I don't know. And the
God,
thing is, it's not like it's a. Some of these things have been, I think, probably misplaced. Like, I don't actually think Tri-chromacy starts with the first apes. I think it goes back a little bit farther, but so some of these have been a little bit iffy in their placement. But like, brain size, if you have a skull, you know how big the brain is, right? Like, you check, you just measure it, and sure, it might be a little tricky to measure it, but ultimately, if you can reconstruct the entire brain case, you can just fill it with water and then measure how much the volume of the water is, and there you go. Now you know how big the brain was, right? Like, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's just how big is the thing. It's a little bit more tricky than like how long is the femur, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. Like, humans have figured out how to measure volume in many different ways for quite a while. And to be fair, humans are abysmal at estimating volume. I don't know if you know this, Kip, but humans have virtually no internal sense of volume. Basically, unless two volumes differ in only one dimension,
right?
They're very confused. Like, to this day, I look at, like, say, a can of soda or like beer or whatever else, like, the standard size can, right? And I do not know.
milliliters.
Yeah, I do not know what size cup will fit an entire can without trouble. I just can't figure it out. It does not make intuitive sense to me, and I'm always surprised by how small a glass can fill with just one can. Yeah,
It's why the jelly bean counting game
so
at the fair is always so successful, right?
Yeah, because no one knows.
No.
Yeah. The only way for humans to reliably figure out volume is math, and experiment. Humans are abysmal at it. So, I mean, I'll give them that. It is not an intuitive thing to figure out how much volume something has. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, ha ha ha, a smart dark skin organism, very funny, ha ha ha. I'm hoping that that's not what they're doing, even though I'm pretty, there's a very good chance it is what they're doing. Yeah, these seem like the kind of people who never think about like things like cultural bias in IQ tests. Yeah.
I think Arrow Dodger raises an important question here that I skated right past. Problems with volume.
Oh.
Even though you're not human or a mammal.
Well, I'm not saying I have exactly human problems with volumes, but also dinosaurs didn't really evolve to detect volume either. But we do have tetra-chromacy by default, because in addition to the visible wavelengths that humans can see, we can see into the ultraviolet. So dinosaurs can tell if you're wearing sunscreen or not. And also, you will look different if you are seen by a dinosaur through a window versus not through a window, because glass for windows blocks UV light. Because humans don't care. But I do remember a story about a guy who... Actually, tetra-chromacy is common to reptiles, including lizards and crocodilians. And so I was listening to a story from a guy who owned a pet tegu, which are large predatory South American lizards. And the first time he took it outside and it saw him with natural lighting without any glass between him and the sun, the thing freaked out at him. Whereas inside it was very lovable, because they're very smart lizards. Tegus are generally considered to be the smartest lizards. They'll learn their own names, and you can teach them a few tricks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun. That's cute.
Yeah.
By the way, I was thinking when I said skated past that, it just reminded me that because I'm very excited about this. I'm watching the Olympic the Olympic men's hockey tournament started 2 days ago, and it's the first time that that pros have been back at the Winter Olympics since 2014, and I think that the Canadian roster might be the best hockey team ever assembled in the history of humankind. It's certainly the best hockey team I've ever seen in my entire life. It's quite impressive. When Connor McDavid, Nate McKinnon, and Sidney Crosby are your top 3 centers, I mean, just what are you doing? Like,
I don't know those names, so I don't know.
You should. You really should.
All right. Well, Kip, how many bones of the cranium can you name?
I don't know, but the score was 5-1 yesterday.
Because to me, that's basically the same thing. Like if I were like, oh well, the premaxilla. That's a great premaxilla. Would you know what that is?
Nope.
No. Yeah. If I was like, oh, look at that
though.
occipital condyle. That's
Sad
pretty
for
good.
you.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. But we did just get 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships gifted by Fits of Rage. So I'm going to take 5 drinks while Kip tells you why it is that track and field is better than hockey. Go ahead, Kip.
Oh God. Well, listen, it's not, but I will say, because I've got this fascination with speed. I like going fast. I like watching things that are fast, which is why one of the big reasons I love ice hockey, because those guys are flying all the time.
What I'm hearing here
and
is that
I
Kip should play Warhammer
like,
40k, and he should run a speed freak orc army.
Maybe that's probably
Remember,
true.
If you paint your vehicles red, they go
so
faster.
Much. I don't know so much about track and field generally, because a lot of it's super boring. But the sprints are kind of great because, again, you're watching all these people, women and men, just go insanely fast at doing shit that I can do, but I sure can't do it that fast. So that's why. But they don't. It's you go way faster when you have blades strapped to your feet and you're on an incredibly slippery surface like a manufactured piece of ice.
Kip, maybe you would enjoy speed running.
No, because it involves running.
No, it doesn't. Not
which is terrible.
Speed running is a category of competitive gaming in which people try to beat games as quick as possible.
Yeah, but that would involve gaming.
Yeah,
which is also something that I have no interest in. By the way, when I lived in Norway, the first year we were there, we lived on almost everybody in Norway. My impression is lives on like a fjord or very close to it, just because there's so many.
Right. It's hard to move away from the fjords.
It really is. So we lived our house just backed right onto the fjord in Kristiansand. And the first winter we were there was very cold and very snowy. And it was my first winter in Norway. I just thought this was normal, but I was told, no, it's weird when the entire fjord actually freezes over. We were excited about it because we scraped all the snow off and made a skating area for me and the kids, and it was terrible because it was the roughest ice that I've ever been on. It was not much different than walking with your skates on, but it was a novelty, and we did it, and it was fun. But then
sounds like a literal
really
nightmare
warm
for me.
It was pretty. It wasn't great for me, but then in mid-January, it got. No, actually, this was after we came back from Egypt, so it would have been mid-February. It got really warm and everything kind of melted a little bit, but there's a lot of ice at this point, so it wasn't a total meltdown.
And it got
But
nice and
then,
smooth.
like, yeah, but then it just froze, like it flash froze
Yeah.
overnight,
Super smooth.
and the entire fjord was just like a sheet of glass.
Nice.
And my kids literally just stopped going to school for a few days.
So they could skate on the fjord.
Just so they could skate on the fjord. That's all they did for several days. Was just skate on and played hockey on the fjord. It was one of the most magical experiences of my entire life.
Awesome.
I was still going to work, but I come home like every day and just grab my skates and head outside, and yeah.
Well, we have a few
Just-
super chats.
God.
Let's see. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I'm guessing these two have an aggregate intelligence somewhat below a particularly stupid tegu at about 3 degrees Celsius. Ooh, that's like the dangers. That's well into the danger zone for a tegu. They are tropical animals. They do not like to be at 3 degrees Celsius. They're like me. Like, if it's double digit Celsius, that's too cold. Stop it. What are you doing? Sorry, just single digits Celsius. I meant. If it's below double digits, I don't want it. Metageeky
By the way, go ahead.
for $2 says, no comment from the Canadian on curling with a Gador. We'll take a drink for that.
Oh, there was like a full-on shouting match in the curling the curling ends between the Canadians and the Swedes. It was pretty good. By the way, Kyle Preet, I have to disagree that hockey makes the best sports movies, and the reason for that is because there's such a small percentage of people that are actually really good at it, and an even smaller number of those who are also professional actors. I think it's much easier to manufacture like baseball movies or football movies because you can set plays and action that looks much more natural in those sports than you can in hockey, because hockey's so fluid.
I thought it was actually made on.
It's just chaos.
Played on solid water, not fluid water. I think you're thinking of water polo.
Okay.
That's fluid.
Water polo's pretty fun, actually. Both to watch and to play.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break here. We're roughly at that halfway point. I'm going to refresh my drink. You guys should probably grab yourselves a refresh drink or anything. And then we're going to come back. I'll have a couple of announcements and a quick little commercial thing. And we'll get back into this. And maybe we'll go past a minute on this video because currently we are well under a second so far. But not a second, actually. We're well under a minute. We're at about 20 seconds right now is actually where we are. So someday we'll finish this video. I promise. I don't actually promise that.
I'm not convinced.
All right.
Really,
We'll be right back, everyone. Please stick with us. All right, we are back. Kip is mystified by a soda can, as you can see.
I
which
can't.
is-
Just my eyes are so bad. Look at that. I can't even.
it's a piece-
0 calories per
Wow.
can. Oh.
Look at that. All right, so
Hmm.
now that we're back, I have a few things. One is I have announced this on this channel. Well, I've teased this on this channel, and I've announced it over on Top Hats Off. But I am looking into doing sort of a sort of side project over on Top Hats Off involving some TTRPG. And the idea is that we're going to be doing a mothership game, but rather than broadcasting and recording the sessions, instead what's going to happen is I'm going to get together some people based on their voice acting skills more than their ability to play mothership, because we can figure that out as we go. And after each session, what I'm going to have our voice acting team do is one of them will record a sort of an audio log, and then we'll upload them sort of like a found footage style anthology thing up on Top Hats Off over however long that takes. It would be a relatively short game. It's not going to be a full campaign or anything. This would be like one scenario spread out across, I don't know, 5 or 6 sessions, something like that. But yeah, so if you are someone who thinks that you're a good voice actor, I am hopefully over the next few weeks going to be putting together some scripts that I want voice actors to read. And then send me like an audition tape if you're interested in being in this. It's just a fun little horror side project that I want to do because I want to do a horror side project because I like horror and I like side projects. So that's one announcement. Another one is we will be doing the Cambrian Bunny Award a week from today. So make sure that you are ready for that. If you have not voted for the Cambrian Bunny Awards, please watch the nominating video, which is on this channel, and then go to my community tab and scroll through the posts until you get to the votes for who gets the awards, so you can vote for that. The other thing is, so there's 2 more things. I am working now on setting up a collaboration with Chesh over on her channel, where we're going to read through the complaint that Kent Hovind and family filed against Mark Stoney, who is a former Dinosaur Adventureland resident, for defamation. And so I'm going to be looking at things like, is there even anything actionable in this complaint? And if so, do I think that it is meritorious in any way, shape, or form? And from what I've seen so far, it looks like the answer is going to be mostly no, but a little bit yes, and then pretty much no from what I've seen. But I don't have the full complaint yet. So someone is working on getting that to me probably on Monday or so. But yeah, we're going to do it on Chesh's channel primarily because she already does some legal stuff over there. She's been looking through some court cases here in the US, and this is another one. So it fits better with her channel. But also, I am trying to get a collaboration between Dr. Kip Davis, Craig from FTFE, and MC Toon going together, because there's a lot of Bible stuff that happens on Craig and Toon's channel, and I feel like Kip should get in on some of that.
Listen, after the first response I saw in that joint thread, I'm starting to feel like this may have been a mistake.
I still want it to happen, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. All right. So now for the commercial bit.
I have a feeling like this is a way of making people dislike me more than they actually do.
Good. Pity the man who has no
I
enemies.
I knew you'd very much appreciate that, and now I'm starting to feel like this was probably your plan all along.
Kip, if you don't have any enemies, it means you never stood for anything.
I have plenty. I am not looking for more.
No, the more enemies you have, that means just the more work you've done in the world, whether for good or ill.
I don't think that's true. I think most of the time it just means you are an asshole.
The world needs those.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna get onto some of the commercial bit here. So as you guys know, this channel is almost entirely supported directly by you guys. And I also want to say, February is often rough. For one part, it's just short, so it's hard to schedule as many shows in it. So I don't expect to get as much. But it's been a particularly rough this year, which is a little weird because last month was actually really, really good in terms of the channel and everything. But this month has been, it's not been great. And it is, look, I have extra anxiety as a general problem, which has not been helped by like the situation in the world or the country or anything like that. So part of this is just me being a little bit pathologically anxious, but it's been worrying. And so I'm worried about budgeting for next month. I'm worried about the statistics on the channel starting a decline that just kind of ends up killing the channel, which isn't super likely, but it still makes me anxious. So what I would like is, if you can afford it and you are not supporting the channel, or you would like to support the channel a little bit more, and again, can afford it, check out the Patreon, check out the channel memberships. They both give you access to my Discord server. They both give you early access to videos, usually 4 or 5 months in advance, which that's a lot more than most channels are going to give you. Most channels are like, oh, you get this video 3 days in advance. I'm like, no. You get a video today, it's going to go up in like 4 or 5 months. There's a huge back catalog. Or if you're just looking to increase the pledge, right? There are higher tiers. So yeah, please consider it. And also, what I really, really, really would like for everyone to do is make it a point to maybe binge a few of my videos and share some of my videos. Send them send people some links and emails, people you think might like my stuff, or people who would hate it, right? Because I'll take hate watchers. I'm A-okay with hate watchers. Because basically, I think a big part of it is that the geocentrism series that I did got flagged by YouTube every single video as a flat Earth video, which crushes it in the algorithm a fair bit. Which, yeah, it is what it is, right? So that, combined with the fact that February is not a great month generally, has been a bit of a problem for the channel. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not been great. It's not been encouraging. But I also recognize that everyone else is in a rough spot because despite the fact that, did you hear the Dow Jones went over 50,000, Kip?
Yes, I was watching the
Yeah.
congressional.
Yeah, and for that
hearing.
reason, we just don't have to worry about Epstein's victims because the Dow Jones went over
Not
50,000.
at all.
Yeah.
It's right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
I
Like,
was thinking.
I was worried about, one of the largest sex trafficking rings in all of American history, or possibly even world history. And the fact that virtually no one has been prosecuted at all, and the people who have been were given a slap on the wrist. I was worried about that, but then I realized, you know what?
And wasn't it weird? Did you see that? It was so weird the way everybody on the congressional panel laughed.
Well, of course they did, because it's
like,
a completely ridiculous thing to say,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's so callous to even not think of the Dow.
Yeah.
How can you not think of the Dow?
Yeah, why are you laughing? The Dow went over 50,000. What's wrong
The
with you?
Dow, guys.
Yeah. So we're gonna stop talking about that before I start getting angry. Because I don't want to be angry right now. So if you could do any of those things to help the channel out, I would greatly appreciate it, because like I always say, I want to keep doing this for as long as I possibly can. And while again, some of this is just me being anxious in inappropriate ways, that doesn't change the fact that I am, and I don't want this to be something I have to stop doing anytime soon. So think about what you can afford and whether or not you want me to keep going, and combine those two things and see if maybe you're doing all those things. And then great, thank you, and I don't want you to do anything more than you can afford. But if maybe you can, think about it. And I do want to say that the Patreon, however, has actually been doing quite well. It has increased significantly, and we've hit a milestone over there. So we did actually hit the 1,000 a month milestone over on Patreon, and I want to say thank you to all my patrons for that, because that is something I've been hoping to get to for a while now, and we did it. And actually, it is honestly baffling to me how much people support this channel, because I've looked at these Patreons for much, much bigger channels. I'm talking like 2 orders of magnitude bigger, and seen them have Patreons that are 2 orders of magnitude smaller than mine. So I cannot express how generous you guys are. And I'm sorry to ask you to be generous, because you already are. But yeah, it's a concern of mine, and I'm going to stop talking about it so that it doesn't seem like I'm doing too much e-begging, because I'm already doing a little bit too much. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator has gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, so we're going to take 5 drinks for that, while Kip, in 40 seconds or less, tells you what his favorite sci-fi movie is.
My favorite sci-fi movie has to be still Aliens.
a good choice.
I saw it when I was in ninth grade.
You're going over the 40
It was the
seconds.
first R-rated movie that I had ever gone to see in the theater. Snuck into the theater to see, and I will never forget the jump scare. I'm pretty sure I might have even peed my pants a little bit when when the thingy hit the glass on the just a phenomenally good movie, just so very good.
I actually prefer Alien, but
yeah.
that's more because I like horror movies more than action movies, and so it's mostly a genre thing. I don't actually think that Alien is a significantly better or worse movie than Aliens. It just is more for me than Aliens is. But good choice.
Alien was fine. I mean, Alien was incredible considering the fact that it was made in the 1970s, and I mean, it's just a remarkable achievement of technology and art. But I don't know. There was still some of the they're just. I think because I was a child of the 80s and really grew up in the 90s, there was something very that really struck a chord with my 90s.
We just got an emergency message
in Aliens. Well, no.
Vishanti has sent me an emergency message. The home she's staying in has 2 axolotl. Not just 1, 2. And that's very important, and everyone needs to hear about that. I'm hoping that she will send me pictures, because that sounds awesome.
It certainly does.
It's 2 more than I have, which is maybe I should fix that. We got a few super chats. Dengo Pay for €2 says, "Here's a little for dino therapy if you require. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it." And then Petite Flower for $5 says, "The anxiety is relatable with a hug emoji." Thank you. It really does mean a lot that you guys are amazingly supportive, and it took a lot of effort to get to the point where I was like going to just share the fact that things are a little rough this month. So yeah. I'm gonna hit play before I get too all emotional and stupid stuff like that. I'm supposed to be manly man who doesn't have emotions, because that's what you do. Yeah, bros don't have emotions, bro. Yeah,
no.
We have we sometimes we can get angry. That's okay. And then sometimes we can get a little happy. That's okay too.
Some even think that's very good.
Yeah,
if you
very
get angry a lot,
but no sadness. None of that.
No
like empathy or sympathy for things. Yeah. So for $5, Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, "How could you snub the greatest sci-fi film of all time, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?" That is, I have seen that one, and it is definitely one of the sci-fi films of all time. I will give it that. Have you seen this one, Kip?
No,
I believe
haven't.
I believe it's a Mexican production, and it was like a made-for-TV film, and it is. Well, it's one of the movies that has been made.
It looks. I'm just on the surface of it. It looks like one of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, "And yes, that is a real film." Yes, I have seen it, my friend. I am very aware that it is, in fact, a very real film. Yeah, it's there. Actually, there was a film I was just thinking about, and I can't remember what it was, but I wanted to watch it with Kip because I think he would hate it. Look, there's 2 kinds of things I want to watch with Kip. It's movies that he'll love or movies that he'll hate.
Right, yes.
I don't want any kind of like... Look, I'm like Jesus from Revelation. If there's a lukewarm reaction from Kip, I spit it out of my mouth. I don't want that movie. Be hot or cold. Lukewarm is ridiculous. Get out of here. Yeah.
Just really want to... Yeah. It's,
so, me and Revelation Jesus are agreed on that one.
He lost his tail.
They got to get rid of that tail, because this is where he's going to start standing up and magically become a human.
No, actually, you can look there and you can see that Ardipithecus is actually our first largely bipedal organism, which is quite a way down.
Quite a ways.
Yeah, but it is possible that the loss of the tail had something to do with increased terrestrial locomotion, where it was less important for balance and sometimes got in the way. Although it's actually not clear why apes lost their tails.
Because I would feel like Yeah, I mean that's not making intuitive sense to me.
No, in fact,
That's
actually, most animals that have been bipedal throughout Earth's history have in fact had tails. Most of them are dinosaurs.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
The
yeah,
vast majority of
okay.
bipedal organisms in the history of Earth
Wow.
have been dinosaurs, and they all have tails. Even modern dinosaurs have tails. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, most
Wow.
ape species don't walk upright, and yet they do not have tails. Also, many lemurs are bipedal on the ground, and they do have tails. Tails do not correlate well with bipedality. Other things do, like the position and angle of the skull, the shape of the hips, the angle of the knees. These are all things that actually do correlate with bipedality, but the presence or absence of a tail, not really.
Interesting.
Yeah, and none of do any of these other I mean, yeah, I'm sure some of them. Well,
What? Finish your sentence,
What?
Fad.
all the
Yeah.
last ones are questionable, but we'll get to them.
What does that mean?
Question.
then-
What is questionable?
I think he means whether or
questionable
not they
in what
existed.
way?
I think he means whether or not they existed, except that these are all known named genera with actual specimens that we can look at and say that's the skeleton of this thing. And you can say, well, how do we know that's an aurora? And it's like, well, that's because that's what we named it. That's what we found this thing.
Are
and
we
then we
still
decided
on
to
the
call it that.
proconsul?
Yep.
Or have we moved on? Oh God. Wow. All right.
Sorry.
And now we go into now these are the primates. Now we're going into the
There's one where we're going into the hominids. The hominids.
Aren't hominids also primates?
Yes, they have fundamentally misunderstood the nested characteristic of these terms. That because they said that, well, first they were vertebrates and then they became mammals, and now they're primates. And they said that very much in the sense that they thought that primate meant that they were no longer mammals or vertebrates. But in fact, that's not how this works. These are all lower levels of classification where you retain all of the higher levels of classification. So humans are in fact hominids, they're primates, they're mammals, they're vertebrates, they're deuterostomes, they're bilaterians, they're animals, they're eukaryotes. They're all of those things all at the same time. And there's many, many, many more taxa that I've omitted for the sake of brevity. Like hundreds more. Not all of which even have actual names. But that we still know that they exist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator.
By the way, this is not very good.
Well,
so
I'm sorry. I've never been impressed by diet root beer.
I'll be fine. Yeah.
You'll survive?
I guess so.
All right. Is that because that you still know how to love, and so you know that you will carry on and all that?
I know what love is.
Okay. You've got all your life to live. And so much love to give, Kip. So much.
So much.
All right. Not the first time I've gotten Kip with some 60s or 70s lyrics today.
Not the first time.
Yeah. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says the paleo experts say they're fake. Yeah, those darn paleo experts. I hate so much that the book Contested Bones introduced that to like creationist vocabulary. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a homo. So.
Get it? Did you get it?
Yeah,
Dapper?
I get it, because
you get it?
Yeah,
because
they don't.
Gay.
Yeah, they don't know the difference
because they don't know what the prefix means.
No.
Like
they don't know
because
the difference
why?
between
Why would they?
homo in Greek versus homo in Latin or anything about either of those languages.
No, nothing.
Do you think either of these two could name more than one case in either Greek or Latin, given that they largely have the same cases?
I don't think they could name a case.
And I'm not even counting ablative.
Or Latin.
Like I'll toss ablative out, right? Because like, is ablative actually a case in Latin? And the answer is kinda. So, yeah, no. I'm not even sure they could name one.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Couldn't even get nominative out there.
I think no.
I'll bet if they saw a Latin dictionary, where
they'd probably giggle and make a joke out of it.
You know how in a Latin lexicon usually you get the nominative singular and then the genitive singular, because between those two that's enough to figure out the whole declension. I'll bet they wouldn't know what the genitive form is there for.
Yeah. No. They'd probably think it was they'd make a gender joke because Jen, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
The
homo.
They're smart like
Imperial
that.
Lapithecus has. This is the first of the hominids here. They got him sitting down cross-legged.
I mean, I would actually
I
argue,
knew it. I was looking at that. I'm going. I bet they're gonna make a point of this. That this is the sit down cross-legged.
It's
ape,
actually not even cross-legged
because
if you look closely. Its legs are just bowed
it's
out to the
true.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But also, I would argue that
Oh.
proconsul is actually the first hominid, but like, whatever.
I wouldn't make an argument.
He's got flat and widened rib cage, stiff lower spine, and flexible wrists and shoulder blades. And he's lost nothing.
I mean, I guess you could
Lost
argue, like I
nothing.
just heard Georgia Purdom argue that it's lost stiff wrists and flexibility in the spine, I guess. Because I recently did, in fact, hear Georgia Purdom argue that actually the ability to do gaining the ability to do a new thing with a pre-existing bit of anatomy or biochemistry is actually losing information because you're losing the specificity of that structure or protein.
Yeah, but I think she's bad at her job.
No, she's
And we
very
should
good at her job.
maybe-
She's bad at science. There's a big difference.
Oh, okay.
Right.
all
She's
right,
excellent at
yeah.
her job, which is to just propagandize to Christians
Propaganda,
to
yeah.
disbelieve in science. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great at that. Because
Propaganda is like the easiest job there is.
I don't know. Some people are
actually.
very unconvincing. Some people are
but
just
I-
they just have hard time being rhetorically effective.
I guess it just feels. Yeah, maybe you're right.
All right, let's hit play.
Get
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know. Are there actually like monkey breeds that don't have tails?
First, hominids. That's I'm gonna take a drink for monkey. First of all, monkey breeds. People aren't normally breeding monkeys for like color morphs or anything. The word you want there is species, buddy. Species. But also, all hominids are in fact monkeys, and all of them definitionally lack tails. Also, some species of macaques, like the Barbary macaque, also called the Barbary ape, lack tails. There are also some short-tailed species that barely have a tail. So, yes, in fact, some monkeys don't have tails, including all the apes and some of the non-ape monkeys. So, yes, is the answer to that question. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, in my opinion, she's not bad at science. She's bad at integrity. I mean, yeah, there does seem to be some of that because some of the things that I've heard her say just recently make me think that there's no way that she actually believes that. For instance,
Is there any evidence that she's not like it? Just
her
feels
PhD
like
in genetics is evidence that she knows better.
I'm sort of at the point now where, and maybe Wes Huff is as much to blame for this as anyone, but I'm sort of at the point now where I am just starting to think that those letters are not worth what they used to be.
The thing is, I know that there are
Yeah.
people who get PhDs in order to just legitimize their intended lies for later.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
Nathaniel
yeah.
Jason famously is on record in his bio on the Answers in Genesis website saying that when he was going through his postgraduate program, his goal was to see how he could, quote, use and abuse his degree for the Lord.
Wild. Just wild.
Yeah, so he's just
Right.
telling you on his bio
Yeah.
that his intent was to just lie about science, but it's okay because it's for Jesus. Because if there's one thing Jesus wants you to do, apparently, it's lie about science. Which is weird because I don't
In the
remember
time-
anything about Jesus indicating that from like the Bible or even extra biblical things like the Didache. Which also, do you know who Fakatzoid is? It's a flat earther from South Africa.
Yeah, feels feels like, yeah,
He
sounds
actually
familiar.
used to go by Flatzoid, but as a result of him lying about whether or not his email was available on his YouTube channel, he quickly added his email to his YouTube channel, but then he misspelled it with a typo, put a K instead of an L. And so for just a little bit, his email was listed. First, it was listed as no email. Then it was listed as facatzoid at gmail.com. And then it quickly shifted to Flatzoid. But fortunately, people were watching, and we got screenshots of when it said Facatzoid. Anyway,
Nice.
he now goes by
Very good.
Creality Jesus. And, no, Creality Jesus Saves. Sorry. Creality is apparently a portmanteau of creation and reality. In case you're wondering where that...
That's terrible.
It's extremely terrible. Flatzoid was actually better.
I was like, all I could think of was Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
And being cruel. I'm like, well, I'm the tracks. So
right. Well,
but,
anyway,
yeah,
he has a few videos, and in one of them, he talks about a Christian document that was in some early biblical manuscripts, which is true about that, and that could have very well have ended up in the modern Bible, and he called it the Didache, and what he put up on screen was the Didache. So that was...
It's tough.
That was
tough to
wow.
get the words right sometimes.
Yeah. But
I just in
the Didache.
Sorry, I gotta say, like in the time that I have spent on YouTube, I think I have become really disabused of the notion. Like it just there just seems to be a striking number of people with and I'm not talking about like people with the fake PhDs,
but actual real PhDs from accredited universities.
But actual real PhDs from accredited universities who are legitimately shockingly dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my unfinished journey, who's been a member for 35 months and is at the amulet level, says, "Hail Nero, hail Daps, and Dr. Not a Weasel, and hail Spare Ashalot," with a fist emoji and then a Vishanti for power. Yeah. I'm a little jealous that Vishanti is in a place with 2. That's...
right, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit play. We did get past a minute.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, gorillas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who are also hominids, by the way. So, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, that is a monkey, to be fair. Apes are monkeys. If you disagree that apes are monkeys, learn how taxonomy works.
Gorillas, I didn't put those into account.
And there might be another couple, but I'm not...
You mean like bonobos or chimpanzees or orangutans, or like I said, some species of macaque, like any of those. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, "Piled higher and deeper." Oh. Yes, that is the Kent Hovind version of what a PhD stands for, is piled higher and deeper, because he, of course, is one of those anti-intellectuals who thinks that actually PhDs are dumber because they've been super indoctrinated. But not him, though, because remember, he claims to have 2 PhDs. So,
Depraved Ambient says, as long as education is locked behind a paywall, degrees by themselves mean only that a person had enough access to funds to pay for that degree for a certain amount of time.
I agree that it means that, but I don't think it means only that.
It means
that,
not only that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there are requirements beyond
and those of us who have earned them and paid for them and had to work extremely hard.
Yeah.
And had to exercise, had to do things that just not everybody can do either.
Look, there are people who don't survive PhD programs, literally.
Many.
It's not that uncommon,
many
actually.
Don't. Yeah.
So, if it were just you paid enough money for a long enough time and then you get the degree, I don't think that there would be such a high unsubscribing from your life subscription rate among PhD candidates and students, which there in fact is. So, yeah. Which, by the way, if you're currently a PhD candidate or student and you're in that situation, there are in fact places that you can turn. Not earning a PhD is not the end of your life.
It's not the worst thing.
It also
really isn't.
It's probably not. You're probably not as actually unlikely to earn that PhD as you think you are. There's that too. So like, I don't know. Maybe reach out instead of clicking that unsubscribe button.
Too sure off the top of my head.
And then-
Anyway,
I love that these guys don't know anything about what monkeys even exist, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's just debunk the basis of all of biology." Also, I should point out I missed out on all the gibbons. All the gibbons are also monkeys that don't have tails. So Hainan gibbons, siamangs, all those are all monkeys that don't have tails. So there's that too. That's in Hominoidea.
this thing got nothing. Just looks
Yeah,
all buff.
it's pretty much a big buff gorilla.
I mean, I don't know what that means. Gorillas are extremely buff on their own. Like, have you ever seen a
I
gorilla?
was working very hard to come up with the words to describe it.
Yeah. Also, I actually don't know exactly why they picked Organopithecus. As far as I know, it's another Miocene ape, which, like, I mean, yeah, that makes it related to humans. I don't know that anyone thinks it's like particularly close to the human line, but then again, I'm not a paleoanthropologist, so I don't know. Ask Erica. She knows a lot more about this section than I do.
Yeah, it's all buffed out. That's all he got.
Yeah, and then he turned skinnier. I don't know.
Yeah.
He had a weight loss program, and then like
he got some stuff.
So the reason Auroran is here is because Auroran is our earliest likely hominin. So hominins are the group of apes that are more closely related to modern humans than they are to members of genus Pan, which would be the bonobo and the chimpanzee. Pan troglodytes for the chimpanzee, and Pan priscus, I believe, for the bonobo. Sometimes you might also hear bonobos referred to in older literature as lesser or gracile chimpanzees because they are in fact smaller and less muscular than chimpanzees, but otherwise greatly resemble them. If you're just looking, one of the easiest ways to distinguish them is that bonobos, in addition to being skinnier, which is hard to judge, also tend to have a bald spot on the top of their head, whereas chimpanzees tend to have a full head of hair the entire time, and that is regardless of sex on bonobos. If you're watching them interact and they're having a whole lot of sexy times, then you're probably looking at bonobos, because bonobos have sex with each other pretty much all the time. Yeah, just
It's
lots.
not a bad way to live.
Yeah. And they are also some of the gayest of the mammals. So there's that. So if anyone was ever telling you that that homosexual activity is actually unnatural, just point to bonobos, because oh boy. Yeah. They're I guess technically they're very, very like pansexual. But like, yeah, that involves a lot of gay stuff. A lot of it. Prixie Purple, who's been a member for 23 months, says, I dropped out of PhD to not drop out of life. Hey, you know what? Respect. I'm glad you did. I would much rather have you here with
Me
no
too.
PhD than nowhere with no PhD. So look, not everyone.
Prixie's,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Prixie's in my Hebrew class.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look,
So
a PhD is not something everyone can or should do. And if you're not that guy that can do the PhD, that's fine. That doesn't make you a lesser person. Look, I don't have a PhD. I still pal around with a bunch of PhDs, and I think I hold my own pretty well. What do you think as a PhD, Kip? Yeah, do I hold my own pretty well?
No, I mean, you know, like a fuck ton about many more things than I do.
It's okay.
I often, including nuclear reactors on aircraft carriers.
I mean, it was my job for a little while.
And biology, and using Blender.
Yeah.
And those and Klingon.
Actually,
and those sorts
I would
of
argue
things.
I might know more about linguistics broadly than you do, but certainly not about.
I think you probably. I was never trained in. I never even. Yeah, I didn't do any linguistics.
You got
it's
me
just
beat
stuff
on
that I picked up
Semitic
from learning
philology.
languages, right? So
yeah,
probably, but again,
definitely.
right? Like that's like my job.
Yeah.
But I would destroy you in a hockey trivia contest.
Oh, that's absolutely true.
And in an ice hockey game too.
I will actually concede both of those contests.
It would be very sad.
Now. Right now, I just concede both. I concede both of those contests now.
Yeah. So I mean, these are the things, right?
Look, actually, we'll make it formalized. Kip, I challenge you to a hockey trivia match right now. Do you accept?
Yes.
I concede. Kip, I challenge you to a hockey
There
game
we
right
go.
now. Do you accept?
Let's go.
I concede.
Let's.
You can now
Okay.
tell everyone that
See,
you have
and
beaten
there
me
we
at both
and now
hockey
it's
and hockey trivia.
all yes, all those things. So, I wanted to say though that now this is one of the I I very much enjoy teaching. I think it's fun. And one of the things that I really like about teaching is seeing like the lights go on
Mm.
in students, and I wish it happened more often than it does. But those are like the highlights for me. And I had this really cool experience after you know, in Hebrew class you do the alphabet in week 1. And then the way I teach it, I do like vowels and some of the things that
I thought
happen
Hebrew didn't have vowels.
in. Yeah, you would think that, right? If you
Sorry.
listen in certain corners of the internet, but you know, you do vowels and some of the patterns and the changes that occur in vowels in certain forms of words. Did that in week 2, and I got an email from Prixie several days later, where she's like,
Oh yeah, I
"Hey,
saw this.
you saw this, right? I
Yeah.
was so impressed by this." She's like, "I like to make infographics to help me learn things, and I made this infographic, and I'd like you to let me know if I did it okay."
It was so
And
good.
holy cow, it's
So good.
so good.
Yeah.
And like she made like super tiny little pedantic mistakes on it that I just sort
Overall
of
though, like
pointed out and
it was
fixed for her. But
great.
like holy cow. I'm one she gave me permission. I'm 100% using it, like teaching
Yeah.
from here forward. But like these are the kind of moments as a teacher where you're just like, holy cow, I'm just yeah, I love
Actually,
when this kind of stuff happens.
you remind me of one of
So,
my favorite times on the show, which was I was describing why the inverse square law is what it is, like how it is that works. And I was describing it, and Vishanti was like, I had never actually understood why that was a thing until now. Now I get it. I was like, yes, that means I did a good job. Because previously for her, it had
yeah.
just been something she was like, yeah, okay, sure, I guess I believe that. I can use it mathematically. But I actually gave a description of like, why is it like that? And yeah, it worked. We got a few super chats. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, "By Grabthar's hammer." What a dumbass. Yes. Yeah. Also, excellent reference there. Do you know what that's a reference to, Kip?
No.
Galaxy Quest.
Have I seen Galaxy Quest?
I don't know. It's pretty good.
Feel
Templar
like...
Warden for $2 Kiwi dollars says, "This man thinks he could take a gorilla in a fight." Yes, I believe that he is one of those guys. Right? He's one of the like 30% of American men who thinks they could fight off a brown bear barehanded.
Oh boy.
I don't actually think it's as high as 30%, but it shouldn't be any percent. It should be 0%. You cannot fight off a brown bear.
How many unarmed men would it take
to do what?
To take on a gorilla in a fight?
I don't know, probably
Because
like...
it feels like it'd be a lot, right? It'd probably be...
So the thing is, if you get a few people on each limb, you can pin down a gorilla. Because, yeah, they're a lot stronger overall, but if they don't have leverage, then they can't do much with it.
A few people on each limb.
Yeah, so it'll probably take like a dozen or so people to take down a gorilla.
That's an insane... That's an insane number of people.
That's assuming that they're coordinated. If they're coordinated, yeah,
right?
maybe. And also, you probably need to double it just to account for casualties. So you're probably going to look at, I would say 30 people is probably enough to take down. 30 coordinated people is probably enough to take down one gorilla. No, not to take down, but to pin a gorilla so that it can no longer fight. You're not going to kill a gorilla that way. To kill a gorilla with unarmed humans, it would probably take at least another 4 or 5. So I think 40 might be a good number of adult humans if you want to go fight a gorilla unarmed. Now, the other thing, though, is if all you want to do is kill a gorilla, you can do that with one human because gorillas are really bad at making weapons, whereas humans are not. Humans can do things like make ranged weapons that can kill a gorilla before the gorilla ever gets to you. So if you take away the unarmed rule, suddenly humans are in fact more dangerous than gorillas. But Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says teaching, seeing the recognition is the greatest. It really is. Like I'm not. I guess you could say I'm a professional teacher in a certain way, and I also occasionally teach people things just sort of one-on-one, and it always is exciting when I realize, yeah, no, this person now gets the thing. They understand what I'm trying to teach them. Yep. In fact, every once in a while, Chesh asks me to teach her some Blender stuff, and then she never actually follows through on that. So
likely bipedal, so they don't know for sure, but they're saying, yeah, he probably walked on 2 feet.
So there's some reasons for that, right? We have bits of the skull, and we can look at what's called the foramen magnum, which is the hole at the base of the skull where the spinal cord, where the nerve, well, the not the spine itself in terms of the bones, but the actual cord, right? Like the nerve bundle goes into the base of the brain. And if you just think about it, right? Like when a dog is walking around, its eyes and its skull are facing forward, but its spine is more or less parallel to the ground, which means that the spine enters the skull at the back, right? Because otherwise the dog would have to crane its neck. Just like if you were to like go on all fours, like you're crawling like a baby, you have to crane your neck up in order to look forward. Whereas if your foramen magnum is at the bottom of your skull, like it is for humans, then when your spine is more or less perpendicular to the ground, suddenly your head naturally looks forward. And so we can use things like the position of the foramen magnum to estimate normal body position, which means that the farther towards the bottom of the skull it is, the more likely the animal spent time on 2 feet. And Auroran looks like it was probably habitually bipedal on the ground. Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, I could definitely fight a gorilla once and briefly. Yes. Yes, that is the general way it would go. That's sort of like everything is edible once.
Once. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess so long as if you can break it down enough to fit it in your mouth. Because some things it feels like you just can't.
Given enough time and tools, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, but then okay. But then at that point, you're also, with enough tools and time, probably also able to fight a gorilla.
Well, we already made that point.
So, yeah.
Brain size begins to enlarge. Tool construction begins. What?
Here we're going
Where?
for Ardipithecus.
With who? Where does
Ardipithecus.
tool construction Ardipithecus? Really?
I don't actually know that we have any tools associated with Ardipithecus, but we do know that chimpanzees, as well as some other species, do in fact make both plant-based and stone-based tools. Chimpanzees are technically in the Stone Age. They make stone tools. They're not as sophisticated as most human stone tools, but they do make stone tools.
Made of stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they also will make tools out of things like twigs and leaves, where they will actually modify the twigs and leaves to be better tools for things like acquiring insects to eat.
So are you? So they're saying that monkeys started building everything?
Monkeys still build things.
Ants do that too, don't they?
They do.
I mean, like we're not even talking like this is just
also
a whole different direction on this tree, but
gorillas build a new nest every single night. So every night
they're aware that birds build nests, right?
I think so.
Like that,
but like sticking closer to hominids, right? Every night, gorillas go out and gather leaves and twigs and fashion them into a roughly circular nest to sleep in. You know why? Because they want to be comfy.
Terribly remarkable to me.
Yeah.
I just wow.
I've seen orangutans who've learned to use saws from watching humans use them.
That's cool.
And then they'll just go and steal saws and saw and sticks
Really?
for funsies. Yeah, because it looks fun. So like it.
I mean, it looks fun.
Yeah, and look, I've used a saw for fun. I've been like, you know what? There's a piece of wood there. I want it to be a smaller piece of wood. Let's get a saw. Let's just go for fun. It's fine. Yeah, it's a thing.
I still remember. My dad built the garage it was the second house that I lived in as a child, and where I lived for most of my childhood, but I was very, very young when he built the garage without power tools, and just just sawed all the lumber with like a good old fashioned handsaw.
Yeah.
So
A
what do you
Lieutenant Math
call that
Navigator
kind of a saw? Just
handsaw.
a handsaw.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
call it.
Just a handsaw.
Yeah.
So,
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says the lights are off and nobody's home. Yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, in fact, monkeys are some of the most prolific tool users in the animal kingdom, even if you don't count humans among them, which you should because they are monkeys. But yeah, monkeys use tools all the time.
So dumb, dude.
chainsaws are fun.
Yes.
That's true. Chainsaws
They
are
are.
legitimately amazing fun.
But you know what's even more fun?
Hmm.
Chain swords.
I don't know what that is.
You put a chainsaw blade on a sword.
But what would be the difference? I mean,
It's
I guess,
balanced for use as a weapon instead of as a tool.
is there such a thing? Because it feels like
Well-
it would be very, very difficult to balance because you need the motor part on it.
Well, what
And-
if you're using it while you're wearing powered armor that is greatly enhancing your strength? Okay, so you're forgetting
Or maybe
key
just
details.
put the motor on your armor. Like
Or
you
just
could
make it
carry
smaller.
the motor separately. Like,
You're not trying to chop through
wonder
wood. You're just trying to
if you-
chop through bodies. So it doesn't have to be as big a motor. It doesn't need as much torque.
because it could be an electric. It could be an electric motor.
Yeah,
I
see?
guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't. You probably on a chain sword, you wouldn't need quite as much power as on a chainsaw.
See?
Um.
Well, you
yeah.
keep thinking about
Wow.
that. I'm going to hit play.
It says likely bipedal, but still had grasping feet. So likely this they're saying, yeah, likely it walked around on 2 feet, but it still had to like hold on to stuff sometimes.
Yeah, guys,
Mm-hmm.
I want to let you in on something. What you're describing with bipedal while walking and also having grasping feet describes every gibbon and orangutans. That's what you're describing right now. You're describing a thing that you don't think is possible, but that currently exists in many species that are alive right now. You could go to the zoo. In fact, many zoos keep gibbons and orangutans in the same enclosure because they both get along, and then sometimes they even play together because they're both kind of chill monkey species that just are okay together in many cases. And you can watch them walk around on 2 legs while having grasping feet. I'm taking a drink for how dumb it is that they're like,
Listen,
that's
while
so
you
dumb.
drink, yes, Bobaton, there certainly are electric chainsaws, and they're useful for like little things. By the way, I used to have, it's expired now, but I used to have like my chainsaw tree feller certification for cutting down like big trees in the forest.
How do you survive under so much
pretty fun.
tyranny that you need a license for a chainsaw?
It's they're dangerous, right? And
The danger
act
is just part of the excitement.
of cutting down trees is actually insanely dangerous.
Sounds like
Because
the nanny state to me.
I don't know if you knew this, Dinosaur, but trees are like really big and heavy, and if they fall on you, they'll kill you.
So just don't
Or
let
if
them
they
fall
fall
on
on like something, like if or on a car, it would make it undrivable.
you. Yeah.
And but even beyond the falling part, if you're not doing it correctly,
You're thinking way too much about me making a stupid joke about tyranny, meaning that you need a license to do dangerous things.
I know, but
Way
I
too
think
much.
I think people I do think people underestimate how insanely dangerous it is to cut trees down. It's like seriously nuts.
It's more dangerous
But
than being a cop.
I digress. It could be. Yes, Katie. In Canada, trees explode. They literally do, and you have to be very careful about that.
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, you act like these idiots have ever heard of a gibbon. All right, that's a fair point. There's a pretty good chance they've never heard of a gibbon.
Probably not.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I need to actually go back in touch with Erica because I asked her a question last time we were on stream together about
That was Sunday.
Simangs, and and I said like don't give me the whole answer. I just want to know if there is an answer to this question. And she said yes. And I was like, all right, I'll get with you later. And then I never did. So I need to figure out if. Basically, I asked her why Simangs have syndactyly, if we have a reason, like if we know why that is. And she says, we have some good ideas. And I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. But I need to actually ask her that question. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for another 5 says, despite themselves being shit gibbons. Yes, despite them being shit gibbons.
Like, where do they get this stuff from? It's so outrageous. When
From the skeletal anatomy of
where
animals.
did they get this stuff from, Dapper?
They get it by looking at the remains of the animals. That's where they get it from. Like it's physically there. They can look at it.
Thinking pretty hard about it.
Yeah. It's this thing called science.
Drawing the most reasonable conclusions on the base of careful observations.
And also
through,
not overstating their
comparisons
confidence.
through a whole bunch of different things. Like it's just wow.
And we're also getting that classic thing where creationists will complain about scientists using guarded language because that's how you do science. You don't say, we know for a fact everything about the locomotor repertoire of where are we? Ardipithecus. We know it all. We don't say that because we don't, and we recognize that. That unearned confidence is actually a bad thing. Anyone who is talking about things with unearned confidence is someone you should be very skeptical of. Because when you have unearned confidence, what that means is you've decided you're right regardless of the evidence rather than because of the evidence. Also, I just realized that we're going to get to Australopithecus and they are almost certainly going to talk about the fact that there is a visible penis.
Oh.
That is that they're definitely going to comment on that. I can't imagine
Is that coming next?
Yeah, it's the next organism that we have is Australopithecus.
Wow, look at the time.
Yeah.
You actually see like what they call the fossil record or the type of fossils they actually have.
What they call the fossil record.
Yeah, that's just the collection.
Is there another
of all
name?
Fossils.
Is there another name for it? Should there be another name for it?
You can call it the collection of all known fossils. You could.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Yes. Okay.
They literally have like a tiny piece of like a monkey's knee, or like.
Okay, I need to tell you something though. From a monkey's knee, you can tell the angle at which the femur connects to the lower leg bones, the tibia and the fibula, and from that you can actually then build up a biomechanical model of how the organism stood. And from that, you can eliminate various locomotor styles that are incompatible with that angle. So,
is that because we know how bones and joints work?
In fact, it is because of that. Yeah.
Wow.
So, having a fragment of a knee actually tells you a whole lot about an organism because it turns out
it's
anatomists are smart.
Certain bones, right? Like the fact that it's a knee bone.
Right, that's important.
Will actually provide a great deal of information regarding motility, right?
Sure,
much more so than like a rib.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say some bones are less important for that. Like if you found a rib, you're not going to learn that much about the animal from just a rib. But also fragments of skulls can be reconstructed to show you the actual shape because we know which skull bones go where. Actually, the cranium isn't actually
how
one
that works,
solid bone. It's actually a whole bunch of bones stuck together, and we can tell from which bones are which and where the sutures are how to reconstruct a whole skull. And actually, if you think about it, given that monkeys, including hominids, are bilaterally symmetrical, if you actually have, say, the knee from one side and then the wrist from another side and then bits of skull from either side, you actually can then mirror those and get a much fuller picture of the entire animal, which you might not be able to do if it were, say, like a sponge. So, yeah.
I feel like I'm not a scientist. But I feel like a lot of what you're saying and a lot of what we're talking about, it rings true in my own encounters with pseudo intellectualism in my field, where people who are diametrically opposed to let's say, scientific or rationalistic ways of investigating a thing
Mhm.
are just they do not seem to even understand how we can know things
Yeah.
And constantly confront that as if I'm just sitting there with a bunch of texts and virtually every single option is on the table in equal measure
Yeah.
with
Which
respect
is
to the
not how it
relationship
works.
between it. No, not at all. Like, this is just not at all
You can
a
very
thing,
reliably
right?
eliminate many of the initial possibilities by investigating.
Yes. A good example of this, I think, is when pseudo-intellectuals approach something like the Pentateuch
By the way, you're eating
or
into
the
your
Torah.
announcements time. So go fast.
Oh, okay. They will look at the occurrence of Egyptian loan words
Mhm.
and set dates on those and go, well, then it's just as likely that this was written at the end of the Bronze Age, when no, the hell, it's not, because there's all these other, syntactical linguistic factors at work that
Not
kind of
just
override
when did
the
a word enter the
value
language? Yeah.
of that. Yeah, it's just not that. It's not that. There's so many other things. So,
We have
all
a
right.
few super chats here to go through. Inquisitive Infidel says, unearned confidence, also politician speech. Oh man, I hate politician speech. Lieutenant Math Navigator says, what about the tibula? That's a good question. You're going to have to ask Neffy about that. And actually, Neffy put his head above water recently with a new channel trailer for his Nephilim-free channel. So hopefully we'll get Neffy eating way more paper here in the future. So, yeah. I don't know if you know about Nephilim-free there,
I don't
Kip.
know about what's going on with Nephilim Free.
Nephilim-free
I remember
is
that name from years ago, but forgot about him until just
he's
now.
a particularly odious young Earth creationist who
I remember.
let's see. He is very famous for, while complaining about science and also to some degree the fact that scientific papers are a thing, he just shoved multiple pieces of paper into his mouth and started chewing on them. It's not clear what he thought that was going to accomplish. But he's also infamous for leaving up, while live streaming, the tab for his escort service that he was using, and then denying that he had ever
That's
done
awesome.
that, and editing out that bit of his live stream, but people had already saved it, so it didn't matter. So you can still go find footage of him just leaving up the escort site. Which, I mean,
Sometimes the internet is wonderful.
look, I don't really
Sometimes.
care that Nephilim Free uses a escort site, except that he likes to pretend that he doesn't and that he's a good Christian.
Exactly.
Right? It's the
Yes.
hypocrisy that I really care about.
Exactly. It's the hypocrisy.
Right. Fits of Rage for $2 says, I thought all you can see from the bones is they died. Yeah, it turns out you can tell a whole lot more. Sorry, Kent was wrong about that one. But also, he's even more infamous for taking in a severely disabled woman and saying that he was just her caretaker, and that there was nothing untoward going on. And this was someone who had severe mental disabilities. But then marrying her and seemingly living off of her checks in a situation that it seems hard to believe that she entered into any of this with a sound mind and with full knowledge of what was going on. So,
okay, you didn't warn me ahead of time that this was going to get like really gross.
Sorry. Yeah, it
So,
seems like the best case
wow,
scenario
thanks.
is that he tricked a disabled woman into marrying him for her money from the government. That's the best case scenario. I think you can imagine what the worst case scenario is, because it involves that and then a whole bunch of other things, which I don't have evidence for. But Neffy's gross.
Wow.
And looks like he's back.
Wow. God.
Yeah. Sorry.
Great.
Here's the thing,
great.
right?
Thanks.
Creationism often ends up going super dark places because it involves people who are okay with all sorts of really dark shit.
Yeah, true. Right.
So, yeah. Because remember, creationism isn't just about science denial. Ultimately, it's basically cover for Christofascism.
It's a
propaganda arm for Christofascism.
It's a trait. That's what I was gonna say.
All right, so
yeah.
Kip, do you have something coming up that people should check out? Just say yes or no.
Just the usual
okay, so
stuff.
go check out Kip's channel. I also have stuff coming up. Let's see. Later on today, I'll be at Chesh's channel. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing Matt with Maddie. There might be a show on Monday over on Craig or FTF or Toon's channel. I'm not sure what's going on there. Kip and I have to figure that out. And also, I'm the obvious fourth wheel on this tricycle, so like I could just bow out and it won't matter. Then on Tuesday we got Maddie. On Thursday we've got a supercut coming, so I think it's like 3 hours. So bring some popcorn. Then on Friday, plan is the next episode of Star Trek. Saturday we're going to be back here. I think Vishanti will be back that Saturday, but I'll have to double check her schedule, so I'm not positive. But Kip, you're going to be here?
Yeah.
All right, Kip is going to be here, and also Kip should be here on Friday over on Top Hats Off for Star Trek Adventures because he plays Lieutenant Vrelax.
Yes,
All
I do.
right. So with that, if you are interested, I'm going to
too.
be doing the Godzilla. We're going to be watching some more Monarch Legacy of Monsters over on my Discord. Sorry, we didn't do it on Tuesday.
How far into that are you?
We're on episode, I think we're doing episode 7 and 8 today.
Are those the last ones, or were there 10?
No, there's 10. So we have one more day of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. But
Yeah.
also, the next season is supposed to be
I
coming
love
out
it.
like
It's such a good show.
like this month or next month or something. So we might end up actually pausing Star Trek at the end of one of the seasons, not seasons, but one of the series, and go back to do the second season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I'm not sure. I'll ask how
like
what people think.
like in real time, like as they're coming out.
No,
or very
we
shortly
probably wait
after they
until
come
after
out.
they're finished, so I can just do two a pop for each of the times I do them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
so I want to say, everyone, please stay safe out there. Thank you again for all your support. And like I said, it's been a rough time for the channel, so I would very much appreciate if you could watch a few of my videos, share some of my videos, comment on them, like them if you haven't already. Because YouTube seems to currently think that I'm doing Flat Earth misinfo, which sucks. So
Damn. Oh, what have you got me into? Jesus.
he just figures it out. The shoe drops.
Oh my God.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye,
That's
everybody.
nice.
I supposed to be abolished. Remember.
Wow.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Siloof, Benthovend, Tapioca Weasel, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Ravara, Kelvin Brostig von Manen, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Pegajace, The Plastic Mouse, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Ember Athelian, Prixie Purple, Agricola Siqua, Me, Myself, and I, Edwin M., Kenneth Swenson, Lance Hall, and John Ackerman. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.